Normally, when I give this session, I spend a lot of time talking about the importance of character formation, the importance of making character formation a top priority. But for now, I'm going to just cover strategies and strategies and strategies, concrete things that you can do inside a classroom. Today, for example, we have 12 titles of strategies, but we're not just going to talk about 12. It's actually made up of around 50, 55 concrete strategies. Um, and this is just the first of 3 Fridays that we're going to do it, because I think now more than ever, what we teachers need would be better ways of doing things inside a classroom so that we can make an impact make an impact in the lives of our students. But for those of you who never got to attend any of my sessions in the past on character formation, on introduction to character formation, I have a free online course on character matters. I'm going to type in the chat box in a while. Let me see. It's a free online course that you can get international certification on character matters. And it's free, no need to pay. So what you can do is, let me see, I think I will have to stop sharing first the screen so that I can give you the link here in the chat box, so that those who may be interested to take advantage, no, of, let me see, there you go. Okay. There, you can cut and paste the bit.ly address so that you can access the free seminar, the free course. It's a whole course. You don't just sit down to watch a video. There are exercises that you will have to work on. There, that's the link. And then after finishing the course, you're going to receive a certificate, which participants are able to use for license renewal. It's not indicated as CPD, but all our past participants have managed to get units for working on the for for working on the course. Okay, so as I said, I'm not going to give the introductory part. I will go straight into discussion of strategies. Okay, here's strategy title number 1, 10 tips for raising moral kids. This is from Dr. Michelle Borba. Yes, I forgot to ask earlier. Any of you have actually participated in some of my past seminars? Kindly please type in the chat box the number of times. If it's the first time, then please type in 1. Okay? 1 if you have attended, or this is the first time you're ever attending any of my sessions. But if you've attended some in the past, please type 5, 10, whatever it is, number of seminars you've attended. Great, fantastic. Okay, I only have 1, 2. Okay, Ma'am Fe, Maria Fe Buenaventura has attended 4. Genevieve Ibuna has attended 7. Okay, Dindo has attended 2. While most of the others 1. Fantastic, great. Okay, so this is the first time you're going to be attending my session. Most likely, I think some of you were with us in the series on Catholic topics for teachers of Catholic schools. Because if you've attended my past character formation seminars on urgency of character formation, strategies for character formation, you may have heard many of these strategies already. So what I'm doing is, from the 4 best blockbuster seminars we've had in Catalyst, I put together strategies only. So we're going to talk about concrete strategies. So we start with 10 tips for raising moral kids from Dr. Michelle Borba. And these are 10 tips that will help us in doing our teaching inside the classroom more effective, especially because we are interested not just in making the students grow up to be smart, but especially good. Okay? This is the reason why we talk a lot about character formation, because all teachers, regardless of what subject you are teaching, you can form the character of the young people. And so here are 10 tips. Number one, may this seminar be an invitation to all of you to teach for character, to be interested in not just seeing the young people grow up expert in math, expert in science, expert in English, whatever subject you're handling, but especially good. Because research says parents who feel strongly about their kids turning out morally usually succeed because they committed themselves to that effort. And that same research also says teachers, you and I, who are teachers, who feel strongly about their kids, their students, turning out morally, usually succeed because they committed themselves to that effort. And so that's the first strategy, my dear fellow teachers, every day. Every day, before entering your classroom, remind yourself, I am not just teaching a subject, I am teaching children. I am not just going to teach science, math, and English. I am going to help these young people be good human beings. And the strategies I'm going to share with you precisely are directed towards how do we do that? Answering the question, how can I do that, Mr. Rentoy? How can I form the character of my students? Well, if you really want to raise a moral child, a good child, a man or woman of character, then make a personal commitment to raise one and don't stop until he does. And I'm glad we're doing this somewhere at the start of the school year. Many of you are just beginning the school year, or perhaps even are about to start the school year. Well, it's a very good idea to have in our mind, I am not just hired by my school to teach a subject. The school hired me because they want me to make a difference in the lives of my students, to teach them for character, to mold their minds and form their character, to do these strategies we're going to learn today. And how do we do that? I'll answer the question. There is no other better and more effective way to teach character than through the example of our life. Teachers, you will teach the students professionalism in the way you come to the classroom every day professionally. That's strategy number two, our powerful example. The good example of the teacher is a very powerful strategy to teach for character. You're going to be able to teach kindness to the students by treating them with kindness. You want them to respect you? Show them respect. Show them what it means to have respect for human beings, for people. That's why you see a teacher of character, a teacher who is interested in forming character, will not resort to shouting, screaming, yelling, will not resort to foul language, bad words, profanity. That's a lot of strategies by itself of controlling our tongue, making sure that we never ever resort to foul language, hurtful words, insulting words. Because sometimes I've met teachers like that. I served as principal of Southridge Intermediate School for some years and vice principal of high school. And it's an all boys school. I met some teachers who had the wrong idea that they think that the harsher their words, the more disciplined John will become. It doesn't work. John is just going to be full of um, how do you call that? Resentments. John is not going to be more disciplined just because you shouted, you screamed, you shrieked, you yelled. John is going to be full of resentments. That's how the kids are today. We're going to talk about uh, how to get through to the digital natives later on. That's another set of strategies we need to learn each day. And this is a very good strategy, my dear fellow teachers. Before you enter the faculty room, before you enter the classroom, each day ask yourself, if my students had only my behavior to watch, what example would he catch? And that's a fantastic, strategy to remind ourselves of the importance of good example, role modeling. There is no other better way to teach character than through the example of our life. Number three, know your beliefs and share them. Teachers, regardless of the subject assigned to you, sometimes you may need to comment on the headlines of the day, the news of the day, the headlines that you saw in the newspaper about corruption or dishonesty sometimes that are reported about government officials. Even if it has nothing to do with your subject, sometimes you may need to comment about it because the students do not live in a vacuum. They know what is happening in the world. And sometimes they go inside the classroom looking for answers to questions about life, about the headlines, about what is happening in the world, not about factoring and subject verb agreement and singular plural rules of the verb. Really, I tell you, sometimes these young people are more concerned about why are certain things happening in the world? Why is there war in Ukraine? And why are many people dying in Sri Lanka of hunger? I just came back from Sri Lanka last week, and it's very sad that there are people there who are suffering um, 4 hours of brownout every day, people lining up to buy gas, for, petroleum, fuel, lining up for 5 to 6 hours. Why is that happening in the world today? So, know your beliefs and share them with your students. Talk about them with your students, especially because if you do not talk about your values, your virtues, your strong convictions, they hear the opposite things from songs, from music, from videos, from television, from the internet. I mean, you go to social media, um, the opposite of what we are teaching students about hard work, kindness, respect, responsibility, industriousness, love for country. The opposite of those things, those are the things that they are hearing, seeing, watching in the internet. So let us not lose by default. Let us talk about our values, our virtue, our convictions, what we consider to be important in life, so that the young people are given proper guidance. Number four, here's a very important strategy. Every moment really is a teachable moment, especially for those of you who are class advisors, for example. Oh, you are very um, powerful in uh, in this aspect of forming character, teaching young people, especially um, the hidden curriculum. There is such a thing as the hidden curriculum. No? So, for example, you're a class advisor, your class lost in the intrams. That's a teachable moment. That is when you can teach them the importance of humility, grace in defeat, or the perseverance to look forward to the next challenge that they can face. That it's not time to get discouraged, disappointed, and give up. No. That's a teachable moment. They win in the intrams. That too is a teachable moment. That's a moment to teach them about humility, about being gracious in victory, in celebrating friendship, camaraderie, etc. Every moment is a teachable moment. Here's number 5, discipline as a moral lesson. We don't just go around sanctioning people, disciplining, punishing. For example, you hear a student teasing a classmate. Okay, instead of punishing, simply, John, you're detained. John, you come back on Saturday for Saturday detention. Instead of simply going around punishing, that's a moment to teach a moral lesson. John, if you were the one being teased, how would you feel? You see, we've converted that occasion that instead of just simply punishing, we've made it a moment for John to reflect and to think and then to learn a very important lesson. Moral lesson. Do not do unto others what you would not want others do unto you. Number 6, expect moral behavior. Here's a strategy I always use when before I give out the test papers, when I give exams to my students, before handing out the test papers to them, I say, okay, class, nothing on top of your table except your ball pen. I expect you not to look around, not to even think of cheating. Eyes on your own paper. If you have any question, you raise your hand, wait for me to go to your desk. You see, I am expressing to them my expectation that they will not even think about cheating. Expect moral behavior at all times. Or um, 1 week from now, class, I say to my students, class, you have 1 week to study for our exam next week. Please do not cram, okay? Don't just start studying the day before. Start studying today. When you get home, start memorizing what you need to memorize. That is expecting moral behavior at all times, especially when you say something like, because I expect you not even to think about cheating. Okay? Or when you give an assignment, you tell them, okay, class, I expect that you will be upright, honest in your submission, that you will not even think about cutting and pasting from Wikipedia. Okay? I expect original work. I expect that you will be honest in the way you do your project, your work, your submission, etc. Expecting moral behavior at all times. That's important. Sixth tip from Michelle Borba on how we can make our students moral. Number 7, something also related to what I mentioned earlier, make the students reflect on their behavior and on the effects of their behavior. That's why it's very good to make students, okay, class, think about what you did or did not do that made you do well or not do well in the quiz that I just gave you. You see, um, according to researchers, reflecting is something that especially young people today do not do a lot of. And we will help them greatly mature, develop, grow better if we teach them to do a lot of reflection. Like this, okay? After a quiz, and then the students discover their grade. Some do well, some do not do well. Make them reflect. Okay, class, I'm going to give you 1 minute. Think about what you could have done better so that you could have gotten perfect in the quiz. Or those of you who got perfect, think about what did you do that enabled you to get perfect. Then Those who did poorly will realize I could have studied more. I did not take good notes. I could have read in advance the materials, because that will make them do things better in the future. And then the effect is okay, because of the laziness, I got this low grade. I failed the quiz. Because of hard work, the effect is I got good grades. Make them reflect on the effect of their behavior. That will enable them to do better next time. Number 8, reinforce moral behavior. And I have many other concrete strategies, especially to drive home this point. The important thing here, teachers, do not just be on the lookout for wrong things that students do. Okay? Because I've heard many students complain like that. Sir, our teacher is only sees the wrong things that we do. If we do something wrong, the teacher will get mad at us and will remind us about that again and again. If we do something right, the teacher does not even comment on it. So, reinforcing moral behavior means that we also have to be on the lookout for good things they do. We enter the classroom, the room is orderly. Comment on it. Good, class, the room is orderly. I hope it's always like this. Keep it up. Good job. That's reinforcing moral behavior. Joanna, I see you picking up trash, even if I didn't tell you. Good job. That's what it means to have initiative, to have sense of responsibility. Keep it up. Reinforcing moral behavior, noticing also the good things that the young people do. That's a very, very important strategy that especially class advisors should be should be doing a lot of. Here's number 9, prioritize morals daily. Things like, words like should come out of our mouth like this. Class, it's okay if you will only get average in the test if you do not cheat, okay? I'd rather that you fail than you cheat. You fail and then you learn from it and then you will do better next time. Then you get a good grade, but it's because of cheating. This shows your priorities. And your student should be able to say something like that. Sir is not after our being able to get first honor. Well, what is important for him is that we do our best, that we become better, that we are good persons, good human beings, not cheaters. And finally, number 10, and I've already somehow hinted on this, talk about the golden rule in the classroom. Whatever subject you're teaching, you should be telling the students, class, inside our classroom, the golden rule rules. If there is only one rule in my class, it's the golden rule. Do unto others what you would want others do unto you. Somebody is absent. What would you do if you were the one? I mean, what would you want others do unto you if you were absent? Well, you want that your classmate will help you with whatever you have missed. So do the same for a classmate who may be absent because of sickness, one reason or another. Help the person. Remind him about the upcoming test. That is the golden rule, because you also would want others do that to you. And do not do unto others what you would not want others do unto you. Those are the 10 tips of Dr. Michelle Borba. And it is very important that we help our students become moral, because without morals, the young do not learn how to deal with others correctly and appropriately. Let's go to number 2, title of strategies, appropriate role models. Whatever subject you are teaching, find a way of introducing appropriate role models to the students. For example, science teachers that are scientists whom you can talk about inside the classroom, discuss inside the classroom, um, and highlight their virtues. Like Thomas Edison, who, even after failing more than 1,000 times in trying to discover the light bulb, did not give up. That's perseverance. I mean, can you imagine if he gave up, we don't have the light bulb, or somebody else could have discovered it. uh, Mathematicians. There are mathematicians whose life is an example of resilience and grit, hard work. History. There are so many historical characters who can be presented as heroes precisely because of their bravery, because of their courage, because of their um, great deeds, heroic deeds. Literature, reading, panitikan, all of you have many characters that you can talk about, highlighting their values, their virtues, their character, because they are appropriate role models. In fact, many times our discussion inside the classroom can be like that. If um, Apolinario Mabini were alive today, what do you think would he be doing? Will he be fighting for freedom still? Will he be fighting against corruption, against um, so whoever you are talking about, or whatever topic you are talking about inside the classroom, whatever subject it is, look for those appropriate role models that you can bring in to the discussion, and then highlight their characters, their virtues, their values. There are many. As I said, whatever subject we're handling, for sure, if we have that bias of whom can I bring to the classroom in order to present as a role model to the students. By the way, the reason why this strategy is very important today is because, according to research, do you know whom the young people today are looking up to? Celebrities and sports athletes, and many of them are not exactly the role model you would want for your children. Celebrities and athletes. Sure, they are rich, they are famous, they are popular, influencers in social media with millions of followers. But you look at their life, you look at their lifestyle, they're not exactly the role model you would want for your child, for your son, for your daughter. The young people today need better role models. And that's why we teachers have to present them with all these role models coming from whatever subject we are teaching. Let's go to strategy. Okay, introducing the youth to appropriate role models, because there is a lack of them in the environment, in the teleseries, in ABS-CBN, GMA, TV5. I mean, really, Hollywood, those celebrities are not exactly the appropriate role models we want for our children. Let's go to strategy title number 3, delayed gratification. And under this, there are so many strategies, concrete ones that we can discuss that I'd like to talk about. Here's strategy number 1 in delayed gratification. Talk to the people, talk to the kids, talk to the students about the marshmallow experiment. I'm sure you've heard of it. They did it in Harvard. They also did it in Stanford. They did it in many other universities. They put kids inside a room, and then an adult, the kids didn't know that they were being observed through a one-way mirror. And then an adult comes in, giving everybody 2 marshmallows each. And then the adult gives them the instruction, okay, kids, all of you get 2 marshmallows each. I'm going to leave you. When I come back, if you have not eaten your marshmallows, you will get two more. Okay? And then the adult leaves the room, and the kids who are being observed, some of them started eating their marshmallows. They have no delayed gratification, no self control, no temperance. They just ate, gobbled it up right away. Some others, they looked at it, they tried to pinch a tiny piece, and then eventually ate it. Some others, they resorted to all sorts of tricks in order not to give in to the temptation. For example, by not looking at it, by not looking at the marshmallows, they turned their backs looking the other way so that they are not tempted. Now, that's not yet the full experiment. The experiment is the researchers followed the lives of these kids, and they discovered 15 years later, those who had delayed gratification, they didn't eat the marshmallows, they were above average performers, successful, and they were above average performers of higher capabilities, even higher intellectual capacities, because they had self control. Those who did not have self control and did not have delayed gratification, who just ate the marshmallows right away, 15 years later, following their lives, many of them were delinquent, even failed, or even uh, kicked out of the school, and below average performers. They repeated the experiment to different kids with different economic backgrounds, with different uh, kinds of families they come from, but the results were generally always the same. With delayed gratification, there was above average performance, success, self control, temperance. That spelled the difference. In fact, they followed again the lives of these people 10 years later as professionals, and the results always showed the same. There is a correlation between self control, delayed gratification, and success. That's why we have to make the students realize it is important to develop delayed gratification. Here's a strategy of Rafe Esquith on how to develop delayed gratification. Make the students do modeling or rug project. Make the students do modeling or rug project. You know, the modeling where, okay, class, you're going to do a diorama. You're going to make like models of houses of turn of the century. The model of a plane, model of a the chemical bonds, where they have to carefully glue some tiny little pieces together. That's developing delayed gratification because it's something you cannot do hurriedly. You have to do it step by step, little by little. You have to do it carefully. That's delayed gratification. Same thing with the rug project. Okay, class, you're going to do a rug project where you're going to make the map of the Philippines, making use of threads of different colors, inch by inch, covering uh, the mat with the different threads. That's delayed gratification. You cannot do that hurriedly. You will have to do it carefully, step by step, little by little, slowly taking care of every little inch that you cover. That's delayed gratification. Rafe Esquith was the one who said that uh, anything that you make the students do that develops delayed gratification in them is helping them for real life, for success in real life, similar to the two marshmallows kids. Here's another way to develop delayed gratification, a fantastic strategy which is so much fun. Make the students do board games during recess, during lunch. Board game as a club, as an after school, um, how do you call that, extracurricular or co-curricular activity. Chess, for example. Chess is a fantastic tool to develop in them delayed gratification. You know, when you're playing chess, you have to be very careful about every move you make. That's delayed gratification. You have to measure, think about. You have to be two steps ahead of your opponent. You have to wait for your opponent to make the move before you can make your own, and it has to be well studied. Otherwise, you will lose the game, you will be checkmated, and so board games. It's a very good way to develop delayed gratification. Here's another strategy: make them do jigsaw puzzles, especially those with 1,000 pieces that you cannot do hurriedly. You have to think of every move you make. You have to think of every piece where you will put it in the right orientation. One piece in the wrong place can ruin the whole puzzle. Delayed gratification. You have to think of every piece. That's developing delayed gratification, analysis, synthesis, evaluating, and making decisions, making right decisions in every move, because otherwise you will not be able to finish the puzzle. That's delayed gratification. Here's another one, and I know many schools have already done away with this in the curriculum: gardening. Rafe Esquith, that number one educator from Los Angeles, said this is a powerful strategy, technique, activity to help the students develop delayed gratification. You cannot do this hurriedly. You cannot plant a seed and then force the leaves to come out. No, you have to wait. You have to do it. You have to learn the art of waiting, being patient, um, putting the right amount of water, and then giving it the right amount of sunlight. Delayed gratification. It's a wonderful way to develop that, and yet I know many schools have done away with gardening. And yet it's a very powerful, effective tool to develop delayed gratification among our young people. Finally, here's the last one of this set on delayed gratification: play, theater, making the students perform stage a play. You need delayed gratification there. You cannot do it hurriedly. You cannot announce it today and then tomorrow they have to present it. No, they have to first memorize the lines, and then they have to rehearse, and then they have to memorize the blocking, the movements, and then they have to get the nuances of the expressions of why, how to show anger, how to show emotions, how to show delayed gratification. It's something they have to rehearse over and over and over again until they are able to master it, memorize all the lines, memorize the movements. Delayed gratification. You see, the important thing is we have to think of ways, of activities that the students will do that will make them develop the habit of waiting, patiently working on something, thinking of every move, thinking of every piece, every material. Delayed gratification. Let's go to fourth strategy. As I said, there are 12 that we're going to discuss, and the last one is, I think, the longest, and so we will move faster now. Here's strategy number 4, and this is a very good strategy, especially to address one of the tips of Dr. Michelle Borba: reinforcing moral behavior. Here's how it works, and I've done it in many classes, especially in grade school. In my 33 years inside the classroom, I handled students from grade 4 all the way to college and even MA students. But for grade school, I use this and it always worked. So I would come to the classroom and I would have a bowl in front of me on the desk. Um, Preferably the bowl that is yung kita nila yung loob, ano? And then I would tell them, okay, class, every time I catch somebody doing a good deed, I'm going to put one pebble or one marble. Or if it's you cannot buy marbles or you cannot collect pebbles, then even just yung mga binilog na paper. Okay, every time I catch somebody doing a good deed, I'm going to put one marble or one of these um, papers, ball papers inside the bowl. John, I saw you lending a ball pen to your classmate. Good job. That's kindness. You have made the class win a marble for the Good Deeds Bowl. This group today has been reciting and actively participating. Good job, guys. The five of you have made the class win 5 marbles for the Good Deeds Bowl. I put it there because when we get to fill up the Good Deeds Bowl with good deeds, when we get to fill it up with marbles representing good deeds done by you, the class is up for a reward. Whether it is just to watch a video related to the lesson that we are talking about, that we are discussing, or I'm going to give 10-minute free time where you can do anything you want, or we will have a competition quiz bee, and the students like that very much. Or we're going to go to the gym and we're going to play a treasure hunt, whatever it is. If we fill up the bowl with good deeds, because I'm going to put a marble there every time, then the class is up for a reward. You're always on the lookout for good deeds being done by students. Joanna, I saw you picking up trash, cleaning up the area, even if I didn't announce it. Good job. You made the class win. 2, not 1, but 2 Good Deeds Bowl. Fantastic, class. Everybody submitted the homework today. That deserves 5 Good Deeds Bowl marbles that I'm going to put in the book. So, it's like that. You're always on the lookout for good deeds done by your students. That's reinforcing moral behavior, and that's highlighting your priority about students doing good things. That you are not just there interested to make them pass a quiz, to make them pass a test, to make them pass a subject. You are interested in seeing them be good human beings, be kind, be hardworking, be caring, etc. Let's go to another strategy, number 5 now, merit system, which is similar to what you are very familiar with, Harry Potter, where you divide the class into houses. In the case of Harry Potter, you have the Gryffindors, you have the Slytherins, okay, Ravenclaw. Now, in your class, you can split them according to rows, right? And then you're going to say, okay, 5 merits for the rows that are very orderly when we start and end the class. 5 merits for the row that is most participative, most hardworking that I see in the group work that I'm giving. You are always on the lookout for merits to give. And then you can also put in the demerit system. No? Um, okay, I'm going to give you 1 minute to clean the room, and we're going to give merits to the rows that are most orderly, most organized, and cleanest, etc. Or, okay, class, I'm going to make you do presentations, right? And each row will have to make a presentation. And the best presentations will be given 20 merits for the first one, 15 for the second placer, 10 for the etc. And students like that very much. Many of them are with that competitive spirit. But it's not competing one against another. It's one team versus another, one row versus the other row. Merit systems work because it's capitalizing on the competitive spirit of the students as well as their eagerness to achieve, to show, to demonstrate that they are good, that they have learned, and that most importantly, that they have team spirit. Similar to strategy number 5 is the trophy technique. It's practically the same method of the merit system, but in this case, you are making them compete against each other as a row or as a team or as a group. So here's how it works. Okay, class, you usually would do this at the end of every week, Friday, for example. Okay, class, this week, the row that recited the most, the row that was always clean, orderly, organized, the row that completed the submission always is row number 4. The trophy this week belongs to row number 4. Better yet, if each row has a name, you make them come up with a name so that you don't just call them row 4 or row 5. You give them an identity. Okay? Um, there's a question here. May I ask po if magiging available sa amin ang inyong presentation at video? Yes, the PowerPoint presentation as well as the recording of our session today, you will have access to them. I'm going to show you later. Actually, after you get your certificate later, you're going to receive an email, and the email will indicate a link in YouTube where you will be able to catch the recording. And then the PowerPoint presentation, you will also receive it in the email. It's downloadable. It's going to be downloadable in SlideShare. Okay? So let's continue with the trophy technique. You are giving them opportunity to show, to work as a team. So you can put in as part of your, how do you call that, basis for awarding the trophy. By the way, this can be literally a trophy, or it can be a virtual trophy, or it can even just be a certificate, or it can even just be something you write on the board. The trophy this week belongs to, and then the row or the name of the row or the name of the team. Okay? And then you can put in as part of your basis for choosing who owns the trophy for this week, recitation, participation in the discussions, the punctuality in submission of work, or even the highest average. Every quiz you give, every test you give, the average of the scores gotten by the students belonging to that group, that becomes the average, and that is part of the basis for determining who owns the trophy for this week. So what happens there is, of course, they celebrate. The row that will own the trophy for the week is very excited. They cheer, they celebrate. And the other rows now will say, we have to do it next week. We have to get that trophy next week. We have to recite more. Hey guys, come on, study, read in advance so that we will be able to participate more. I love a class where students are trying to outdo each other in doing good. I mean, that's a fantastic class where rows, teams, groups of students are trying to outdo each other in doing good deeds, in doing good. Now, at a certain point, I will even say, this week, 3 rows deserve the trophy. In other words, you're not even making them compete against each other. They are competing against themselves as a row. I mean, anyone now, any row can actually win the trophy or deserve the trophy for as long as they all work together as a team. They always participate. They always. I love a classroom where the students are trying to outdo each other in doing good, in studying hard, in getting good grades, etc., etc. That's the trophy technique. We go to number 7, welcoming system. And this is a strategy from Dr. Hal Urban in his best-selling book entitled 20 Things Good Teachers Do, Lessons from the Classroom. So, he said this is the most important thing he learned, welcoming the students inside his classroom. How does the strategy work? First, he said in that book, Lessons from the Classroom, it's the most important thing he did, he said, as a teacher. And he decided to do it after his first year of teaching, on the last day of his first year as a teacher. What happened was students were submitting their final exam paper, right? That's what you do on the last day. Students come to him submitting the final exam paper. Here came a girl submitting her final paper. And at that moment, Hal Urban realized, wow, I don't even remember talking to this girl. I don't even remember how her voice sounds like. I'm a bad I'm a bad teacher. I'm a bad person because I was with this girl for 200 class days and I never even bothered to treat her like a decent human being, as decent human beings should. Communicating, talking, exchanging pleasantries. And at that moment, Hal Urban decided, I'm going to change this. I'm going to welcome every student in my classroom every single day like a human being, like a decent human being, welcoming them with a handshake. That's when he decided to do this strategy of welcoming his student, every single student inside his classroom, with a handshake. Because it's true. George Isaac Brown said this. Never let the demands of your job cause you to forget that each one of your students is a feeling, thinking human being. For education to be effective, it must be personal. That's a very important lesson he learned. The deepest urge in human nature, John Dewey said, is the desire to be important. And so, what did he do? Every day, he would go around shaking the hand of all his students one by one. Better yet, he would stand at the door and welcome them, shaking their hand with a eye contact, looking at them straight in the eye, shaking their hands with a smile every day. Some of you might be thinking, "Ay, that's a lot of time wasted." No, that's not waste of time because he said he would do this for 20 plus years inside the classroom, and many years later he would meet many of these students, and this is what they will remember him for. They will tell him, Mr. Urban, you know, we cannot forget the fact that every single day you welcomed us inside the classroom with a smile, with a firm handshake, looking at us. And that left a mark on the students. That taught them about respect, kindness, being welcoming, being likable, amiable, being loving, being caring. I mean, those are all nothing to do with math, science, and English, but they all have to do with being a good human being, being a good person. Now, um, let's change the strategies a bit because some of you are thinking, Sir, sa Filipino siguro hindi yan uubra. Okay, mano po, go ahead and make them do the mano po. Now, some of you are also thinking, Sir, I have 60 students, 50 students. That's a lot of minutes that I will lose in my class. Okay, then your strategy is simply that in your period, you should be able to do eye contact with every single one of your students. As you are lecturing, that you will deliberately make it a point to have eye contact with every single one of them in your 30, 40, 50-minute period. Okay, that's treating them like a decent human being, acknowledging their existence, their presence, their being there. That's good enough. That's better than what happens in many classrooms where some students end up to be merely class numbers, not human beings, not thinking, feeling human beings. That's the important thing about this strategy, that every single one of them should feel that you care for them. You remember what the saying goes, students don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. That's what they really are more after many times when they go inside the classroom. Strategy number 8 now, and I've already shared this also with you as one of the 10 tips of Michelle Borba, the golden rule. But now, as a strategy, please, teachers, this is from Hal Urban, talk to the students about the golden rule. Teach them manners and the golden rule. Teach them about the need to have respect for the student who is talking, that you listen and pay attention. Talk to them about saying thank you, please, sorry. And we can teach it to them, especially through the example of our life. Teachers, dapat sa loob ng classroom umuulan ang please and thank you. Okay, class, please be seated now. Please bring out one-fourth sheet of paper. Okay, please exchange papers now. Please tone down your voice. We are disturbing the other classroom. Please should be heard many times throughout the period that we are there with the students, and they will pick it up. They go out of your classroom using please as a very common thing. Manners. Or saying sorry. Okay, sorry class, I forgot to remind you about the upcoming exam. I should have told you about it yesterday. Again, we have a test next week. Teach them manners because Henry Rogers says, if manners were an animal, it would be an endangered species. So, teach them manners and give them the golden rule inside the classroom. Let's go to strategy number 9. Choosing an atmosphere. Again, this is from Hal Urban. This is a strategy that you can use at the start of the school year. Or, I know many of you have started the school year on Monday. On Monday, if you have not done this yet, you can do it with your students in the face-to-face setup or even in the online setup. What does the strategy entail? Here is how it goes. You will ask the students, if this is a classroom setup, you will ask them, okay class, what kind of classroom do you not like? You don't like. Okay? Somebody will raise his hand and say, sir, I don't like rude classmates, inconsiderate classmates, disrespectful classmates, offensive language. You make them give you what they don't like and write all of those down on one side of the blackboard or whiteboard. Okay? Make them come up with as many that they can identify of kind of classroom that they don't like. Write all of them on one side. Okay, after making that list, now let's go to what kind of classroom do you like? Make them describe it. We like courteous students, considerate classmates, respectful students and teachers, polite students, helpful, kind, caring, teamwork. Make them write as many that will describe the kind of atmosphere they like inside the classroom. Now, after coming up with a list, you will tell them, okay, class, this did not come from me. This came from you. You said you don't like these things. You said you like these things. Can we now commit ourselves to refrain from these things you don't like and then to foster these things that you like? I remind you, it did not come from me, it came from you. That's choosing an atmosphere. Now, you can come out with a poster with all these list of they don't like and then post it on one side of the board. And then these things they like and put it on one side of the board as a constant reminder. And here's the even better strategy I learned after I saw this from Hal Urban. Every time you hear somebody saying an offensive word, a profanity, a bad word, or a complaint, offensive language, no need to say anything. It's enough to point to the poster, effectively telling the student, hey, didn't we say we are not going to, we're going to prohibit that? We're going to remove that? Didn't you, the class, say that we will not allow that inside the classroom? But you don't have to say anything. It's enough to point to the poster as a reminder, hey, didn't we say we're not going to allow that inside the classroom? You see, it saves you not just time, but especially the, the the very tiring thing of having to repeat sometimes inside the classroom. John, how many times do I have to tell you? Didn't we say that we should not? No, no need for those words. It's enough to point to the poster to drive home the point that we choose the atmosphere that we have in the classroom. We create it. And you have indicated in the beginning of the school year or last Monday that that is what you want to happen. So, even if you have not done it in the start of the school year, you can do it on Monday. You will say, class, I am interested that we create a good atmosphere inside our classroom, okay? And so, and then you do this exercise of writing down those that they don't like and then those that they like to see inside the classroom. Hal Urban even had a even more visual strategy. He would bring inside the classroom, one of those bygone cans and with a poison sign, the skull and the two bones like that, uh, like a drawing outside the can. And every time somebody, for example, would utter a bad word, he would get that can and say, "Oops, there's poison in the air." And usually there would be laughter from the students. We need the antigen for the profanity. Instead of having to get angry at that student, you convert it into an opportunity for the students to laugh and then to be reminded. Of course, that student is going to be reminded that, oops, the profanity, the bad word that he uttered uh, created a virus, a bacteria, something that does not belong in our atmosphere. That's a very visual way of driving home the point of this strategy. Number 10, strategy. You're familiar with Kohlberg, of course, that psychologist who studied why do people do good things? Why do people do the right thing? These are the 6 levels of Kohlberg's moral development. And Rafe Esquith applied it to classroom setting. Here are, according to Kohlberg, the 6 levels of moral development. The lowest level of moral development, why would a person do the right thing? Because I don't want to get into trouble. Yan. Diba? Many times, kids would do the right thing because they don't want to get into trouble, because mom will punish. Sir said we will be detained if we fail to submit our assignment. So, I have to submit my assignment because I don't want to get into trouble. That's the lowest level. That's only level number one. Here's a higher level, but it's still low in the 6 levels. Why do people do the right thing? Because I want a reward. Because I want a reward. I better do this because mom said there is a reward. Sir said there is a reward. That's better than simply avoiding a punishment. But we can still do better than this. By the way, many, especially in the preschools, right? They resort a lot to this level of moral development. That's why the kids come home with mark here, excellent job, good job, keep it up. So you have kids wanting to get the star, to get the merit, to get a reward. I want a reward is better than level 1, but we can still do better than that. Here's level 3. Why do people do good? Because I want to please somebody. Sometimes you have students like this inside the classroom. Minsan tawag natin sa kanila, sip-sip, trying to please the teacher all the time. But you also have some students who study hard and behave because they want to please their parents. Because they want to go home with a star, with a merit, with a good, the sticker that says good job. They want to please their parents. Nice. I mean, this is already better than simply doing it for the reward or to avoid a punishment. Now, here's level 4. I follow the rules. Okay, let me see. Let us. Okay. Um, I follow the rules. There are some people who are like this. They are stickler for rules. Why are you behaving? Because it's in the student handbook. um, why are you submitting your work on time? It's not just to avoid the punishment, it's not just to get a reward, it's not just to please somebody, because it's in the rules. Well, okay, the world would be a better place really if everybody follows rules, right? I mean, it would be a better place we live in if people follow rules all the time. But we can still do better than this because, in fact, national heroes many times went beyond rules. I mean, sometimes there's more to life than simply rules. Like Jesus broke rules. He performed miracles on a Sabbath. That's breaking the rule, but charity above all. There is something more to life than simply following rules. Okay, but if we can make the students follow the rules, then that's already making them moral, not simply to avoid a punishment, to go for a reward, or to please somebody. But here's number 5. Why are you doing the right thing? Because I am considerate of other people, not people. I'm considerate of other people. There, that's fifth level of moral development. Why are you studying? Because I have to be considerate of the sacrifices of my parents who pay for my tuition. Why are you behaving? I have to be considerate of my teacher who, like yung nakita natin sa video kanina, no, goes through the pain of sacrificing, of going through traffic and difficulties for the sake of the students. I have to be considerate of the sacrifices of my teacher. I have to listen and pay attention. Fantastic. What a wonderful student who is considerate of other people. But the highest level, and this will now spell the difference on how we discipline inside the classroom. Why are you doing the right thing? Why are you being moral? Why are you being good? Because I have a personal code of behavior and I follow it. That is the sixth level of moral development. That's the highest. And that should be our strategy for disciplining, for managing our class. Make them have a personal code of behavior and make them follow it. How does that appear in strategies? Well, teachers, more and more, we should be talking to our students about class. You're carrying the name of our class. Please behave. That's, in fact, what good parents do. That's what good parents say. They tell their children, anak, dala mo ang pangalan ng pamilya ha? And it means that our family stands for respectful, kind, caring, good, um, upright, moral. You see, um, I have a personal code of behavior and I follow it. And even better, if you can make the students, or if you can tell the students, class, I expect best behavior from you inside the classroom and outside the school because you are carrying the name of our school. That's level 6 of moral development. So, strategy. Refrain from um, threatening them with punishment. Class, I'm going to detain you or suspend you if I catch you doing the wrong things. That's level 1. Okay, class, please study hard. If you study hard, we're going to watch a movie. That's level 2. That's low. We can do better than that. Level 6 means, okay, class, I expect best behavior. Okay, class, we're going to attend the first Friday Mass or the assembly in the gym. Please behave properly because you are carrying the name of our class. That's making use of the level 6 of moral development. Now, some of you might be thinking, Mr. Rentoy, kala ko kanina you were talking about the reward system. Yes, that's the reward system for a group that they are working as a group to get a reward. This one is reward for oneself, self-serving. So it's a different thing altogether. The merit system or the reward system that I was talking about earlier is different from this level 2 of I want a reward. As I said, I love a class where students, groups are competing against each other in trying to do good, in studying hard, in doing well. Okay, we now go to level strategy number 11, class vision. And this is good especially for class advisors among you. But even subject teachers can benefit from this. Have a vision of the kind of class you will have, that you will work on with your students. Because vision without action is merely a dream. Action without vision just passes the time. But vision with action can change the world, said Joel Barker. So, How does that apply in strategy inside the classroom? Well, discuss with your students. Okay, class, how will we want to be known as a math class, as a science class, as an English class for the subject teachers? For the class advisors, you can be talking about as a class. Class, how do we want to be known in school? Are we going to be known as the most competitive? Are we going to be known as the most successful achiever and winning all the contests and all the competitions? What is our vision for our class? But that if that is our vision, if that is the kind of reputation we want to have as a class, how do we get there? That means we want to be the best, okay, but we have to help each other. Admittedly, some of you need more time, need more help, need more assistance than others. So how do we get there? Somebody will suggest, why don't we have a buddy system? We pair partners, the excellent one with someone who needs more assistance so that they can work as a pair, as a buddy. Good. Okay, that will get us to our vision. That will help us achieve our vision. Or, sir, I think maybe what we need is, as a class, let's work. Let me see.
Tapos, para sa Bobet.
Okay, I will mute
Webinar. Hindi, I
everyone.
mean webinar for
Mute
subject.
natin si Sir Gideon. Okay. At saka si Mamping. Okay. So, have a vision as a class and then discuss with the class, okay, if that is what we want to achieve, how do we get there? Make them plan, make them come up with strategies that will come from them, that should come from them, and then week after week, let's talk about it. Are we achieving our vision? Are we getting there? Are we able to have that reputation of being a successful class, a competitive class, a whatever it is? The vision has to come from them. Do a visioning with your students. As I said, you can also do this as a class. How do we envision ourselves as a math class, if that is your subject with them? And then a plan to get there, the persistence to see it through. Okay? That is visioning. Now, for the class advisors, of course, I hope and I'm sure you do your own um, class meetings. We're going to discuss that as one of the strategies this coming Fridays. No, let me see. Okay, um, these are the key questions you ask your class or your advisory. What is the vision for the class? How do we want to be known as? What do we want as our reputation to be? That's the vision. And then you ask the students, if we are able to do that, how will it benefit you? Well, that will make all of us good, successful, no student left behind. Ayan, that's really the meaning of no student left behind, because our vision is not just 100% passing, but that um, the class can choose. For example, our vision is 80% will be in the honors list. Okay, that's very ambitious, but it can be done if that's the vision that we want to have. And that will benefit greatly the students. In fact, it is for their great benefit. And then the key question, what will be the monitoring process? How do we go about monitoring if we are succeeding, if we are developing, if we are progressing? Do we need to meet about this every week? Okay, let's do it. Let's do an assessment meeting every week, even just 10 minutes. Let's do a reporting as a way of monitoring. Very good. Uh, we have a poster at the back of the classroom where the standings of the academic standings, if it's something related to grades, so that one glance at that poster, we know if the vision is being achieved. We know that we are able to um, get closer to our goal. Do you believe that the vision will make a positive difference? Convince the students it is for their best, it is for their good as a class. So that's the important thing, according to Stephen Covey, right? Begin with the end in mind. And what is the end in our vision, in our mind? Success. Um, Maybe for some classes, it's not about grades that they are most interested in. It's about, sir, we want to be known as the most united class, where there is no bullying, there is no fighting, there is no put downs, there is no. Okay, fantastic. That is a fantastic vision to have as a class. Finally, we go to the last strategy for today. And there are 40 more in the coming, 40 titles. As you have seen, sometimes in one title, I give you two, three, four, or even more concrete strategies to use. Now comes the last and the longest one, Class Excellence Award System. And I usually talk about this in seminars, sessions with class advisors, because it's something that has to be implemented on a level-wide basis or a school-wide basis, even better, or even just in a department basis. You remember what I said earlier? I love a class where students are trying to compete with each other, groups of students, rows of students competing with each other in trying to do good, in trying to perform good, perform well in academics. Well, now I'm telling you, I love a school. I love a department, high school department, senior high school department, grade school department. I love a school where classes are trying to outdo each other in doing good, in achieving, in submitting work on time, in winning in competitions, school-wide competitions like Buwan ng Wika contest, declamation contest, poetry reading contest. I mean, all of you have all these things throughout the school year, right? So it's making the classes. Earlier, it's like a um, competition among rows. This time around, it's class versus other class. But as you're going to see, it's not that they're competing against each other. They will be competing against themselves, because in the class excellence award system, or the award for class excellence system, any class should be able to get the recognition for being an excellent class, for as long as the class is able to get a certain number of points, a certain number of merits, merit system that we talked about earlier. Okay? In all the schools I taught in, Southridge, Westbridge, Northfield, Bannister Academy, I always implemented this award for class excellence. For example, I taught in Bannister Academy in its first 6 years of existence, and we implemented this Bannister Academy's Lion Award for class excellence. And the reason why we decided to call it Lion Award for class excellence is because the logo, the school insignia, shows two lions and a shield in the middle. Okay? And that's why we decided to call it the Lion Award for Class Excellence. In Southridge, at one point, the principal, the director, decided, let's have a battle cry for this year. And that year, The battle cry that was chosen by the school was Soar Great Heights. Okay, so the Class Excellence Award, I decided to call it the Eagle Award for Class Excellence because eagles soar high. No, that's in Southridge. And then to make it even more exciting, I mean, instead of simply saying score or simply saying points, 20 points for the class that is able to submit all the reply slips on time. Okay. 50 points for the class that will not have any tardiness, case of tardiness in 1 week or in 1 month. Okay, but instead of simply calling it points, I decided, okay, Eagle Award, let's call it wings. Let's call it wings or, you know, 50 wings for the class, the section that will have um, no absence, no tardiness for the month. Or class, if you win, or the class that, sorry, yeah, the class that is able to win in the declamation contest will receive 100 wings there. And then you compute all the wings that they get for zero tardiness, zero absence, winning this, winning that. You can input there also um, complete submission of reply slips from report cards or attendance to parents PTA meeting. The 100% attendance will enable the class to receive 100 wings, 100 points. In the case of Bannister Academy, I showed you their logo, two lions and a shield in the middle. So instead of calling it points, we called it shields, 100 shields for the class that is able to um, have 100% attendance of parents in the PTA meeting or in the Christmas open house, um, etc. So you can offer points or wings or shields for achievements that the students can do. I'll show you, for example, the list of points, merits, wings, or shields, whatever you want to call it. Zero absence in class in 1 month, the class will get 20 shields. Zero tardiness in class every month, 30 shields will be given to the class. Clean classroom recognition, 30 shields. For every student in good standing in clubs or varsity team, 10 shields for every student that is able to make it or in good standing with a club. That will make the students, all of them, want to join a club, to join a varsity team. A student that competes in an international competition, 50 shields given to the class. In a national competition, 30 shields or 30 points. In a district competition, 10 points. Now, 100% attendance of parents in a parents teachers conference, 50 shields, etc. Participation, 100% of the parents attending the family fun run, 50 shields for the class. Here are more. Class with the highest number of newspapers in the newspaper drive, 50 shields. Class with the highest number of pet bottles in pet bottles drive, 50 shields. Um, Monthly excellent bulletin board commendation. Commendation given by any teacher to a class for exceptional behavior. But the highest point should be given to what you are expecting them to do in the classroom, which is to study. So, if 100% of the students make it to the honors list, then the class should be given 100 shields or 100 points. 90% in the class making it to honor rolls, 90 shields, etc. And you can put in any other thing you want the students to be doing, and adding shields or points or merits as a way of encouraging them to go for it, to do it. Now, you will announce at the start of, let's say, the quarter, okay, class, I mean, you're announcing this to the whole school or to the whole department. To qualify this quarter for the class excellence recognition, your class should be able to get uh, 800 points or 800 wings or 800 shields. Okay? So you see, they are not competing against each other. They are competing against themselves, because any class that is able to get this certain number of points will be qualified for the Class Excellence Award. It's possible that all classes, because they will work on getting all these points, will qualify to be a Class Excellence awardee for the quarter. And then for the whole year, that's a different story. You can set more points that they will be able to um, accumulate a certain number of points. Okay, so that's the class excellence system. But wait, let's make it even more exciting. I mean, it's not nice to see the or to hear the announcement. Section A, every so often you will update everyone in the assembly of how many points they already have. This month, Section A has 120 points. Section B has 180 points. Of course, as they hear their section being called, they cheer, right? So, you might as well tell them, have a class name. And then for this year, our theme will be, let's say, your class name should be an animal with an adjective, or an adjective to describe an animal. Like, for example, the brave lions, 6B. Good. The brilliant warriors, or the brilliant leopards of 7D. Okay, that's the class name that you've chosen. So, it's even more exciting if the class, by the start of the school year, is made to think of how would you want your class to be known, not just as section D, section A, but as a, and better yet, come up with a class motto that the students themselves in the class will decide on. What will we be known for? Remember, in the visioning that we mentioned earlier, we said we have to make the students think about how would you like our class to be known as. The most competitive, the most successful, the achieving class. What is it? And then, what is our guiding motto that will just reading it as we enter our classroom will encourage everybody in our class. But why not even come up with a class logo? In the case of Southridge, the students even came up with a class cheer. And they begin their day every day, especially the kids, grade 1, grade 2, grade 3, grade 4. They love doing this to begin the day after the opening prayer, the morning offering. And then they do the class cheer that they are going to be known for as that kind of class. All these, by the way, are strategies to be able to have a kind of class culture and identity. It works. It works. It makes the students think class, not simply I, me, mine, but we. They develop empathy. They develop teamwork. They develop a mindset of working with others. That's class culture and identity. Okay, I'm nearing the end just to show you how it transforms the atmosphere, how this strategy, I mean, it's a whole system composed of many strategies, but how it is able to create a kind of culture among the students. Southridge School is my alma mater. I studied there from grade 7 to fourth year high school. We were the first batch. And then I went back there and taught for 15 years. And I served there as principal of intermediate school, vice principal of high school, religion department chair, and handling grade 4 to fourth year high school. And as I said, we implemented there the class excellence award system. So look at how the classrooms look like. You enter, I mean, you go to the classroom and you're going to see there, okay, they have chosen as their main name, the class name is We Are the Resolute Wolves, adjective, and the animal. And they even chose three core values: respect, fortitude, responsibility. And then their chosen motto is Duc in Altum. Very nice. Okay, that's the grade 6A. Here's grade 2A. They call themselves, We Are grade 2A. We are the hardworking ants. Okay, that's what they like. And they have core values: courtesy, obedience, order, kindness, which the teacher, the class advisor, made them choose at the start of the school year. What would be, the teacher must have spent time with them in the start of the school year. Okay, class, what are our core values, the most important values for us? And then many people would suggest, they would explain, they would defend their choice, and then they put it to a vote, and this is what they came up with. Okay, and then you have the virtue of the month displayed there. This is a school of character. This is what it means to be a school of character that values character. And then they decided to have these 5 rules inside the classroom, same for any classroom in the grade school, the same 5 rules. Along the corridor, you're going to see there reminders of what the virtue of the month is, what we are giving prominence to for this specific month. Okay, let's go to another classroom. Here is the Friendly Cobras. They are 2C, grade 2C, and their core values are courtesy, obedience, order, and kindness. I don't know how cobras can be friendly anyway, but that's the name they chose for themselves. This is grade 3B. We are the brave barracudas. Yan. And they chose as their core values bravery, loyalty, zealousness. Nice. Okay, so you enter every classroom and there is their logo printed on a tarpaulin. Their how do you call that? Like the flag that represents the class, that shows their motto, their logo, their core values. Here is Enduring Ascals, grade 1A. Their core values are faith, respect, responsibility, and look at their motto, I will always do what is right. Fantastic. I will always do what is right. Now, to make it even more exciting, every month they assemble in the auditorium. And as they enter the auditorium, they will see their logo there on stage. And maybe they applause. They applaud. They cheer. Probably some of them, as they're entering the auditorium to go to their assigned seats, they are doing their class cheer. You see what we've done? We've created a class culture, class identity. They think class, and they work hard to make it successful, to make it a class excellence awardee by contributing to the zero tardiness, zero absence, cleanest classroom, honors, making it to the honors list, etc. So that's these are the loyal Akitas, grade 3A. Now, the most exciting part for them is when Captain Virtue comes out on stage. Because this must be the monthly virtue assembly. So, every month there is a virtue highlighted. At the start of the new month, there is a new virtue that somebody most likely will give a talk about the new virtue of the month, and then um, Captain Virtue will come out to give recognition to some students who excelled in living the previous month's virtue of the month. You can imagine the kids, grade one to grade 1 to 4, getting excited, no, as they let me see, as they see Captain Virtue entering the auditorium. They cheer for Captain Virtue. And this is the principal now handing out certificates to students who excelled in living the virtue of the month in the previous month. And they get a kick out of getting their picture taken with Captain Virtue. No? So, for example, this one is for hard work, the previous month's virtue of the month. So, and then in the case of Southridge, the students even chose a specific color for their class. You have created a class motto, class logo, class battle cry, class um, core values, and then they have the color. They have designed their own T-shirt, and they come with that T-shirt in the monthly assembly. You have created a class identity. Okay, so those are all the corridors reminding them about the specific virtues of the month. Fantastic. We have reached the end of our session. Next Friday, next week, I'm going to cover this next set of 12 titles. As you have seen, while there were 12 titles, I gave you dozens of strategies. So next week, we're going to cover this. And I tell you, the set of strategies from Rafe Esquith are among the best that I've always given to teachers. And the following week after that, on the September 30, 18 more strategies. I know some of you are registered only for today. It's not too late to register for the second and third part if you find this very useful, but they are all very practical strategies that I hope to be able to share with you. Okay, now I'm going to give to you the, let me see, I'm going to give you the link um, where you can claim your certificate for today. Okay, every session comes with a certificate. Let me see. I have to post it here. Okay. You can click on the link that appears in the chat box now and fill up the evaluation form. Please make sure you write your name correctly in the evaluation form, because whatever you write there, that is what will appear in the certificate that will be generated. And I suggest you put it in all capital letters. Write your name in all caps in the evaluation form. Okay? Some of you might be using a cell phone right now. Um, well, you can just email me in catalystpds@gmail.com asking for the certificate link if you are using a cell phone and you cannot access this website right now. But those of you who are using a laptop or desktop, please click on the link of that September 16 certificate that I posted, and then you can fill up the evaluation form. As soon as you click on submit at the bottom of the evaluation form, just wait a few minutes. the certificate should appear in your email address. Okay? So, two things. Make sure you write your name correctly in all caps, and please make sure you write your email address also correctly. Okay? And as I said, after clicking on submit, you will receive in your email the link to the YouTube channel where the recording will appear. Give me time because many times it takes almost an hour to download and then to upload and then for YouTube to process the recording. But it will appear there in the YouTube channel. Okay, great. We have come to the end of our session today. I'm going to stop recording now.